Hey, well, welcome to Faith and Fitness Fridays. My name is Joe Alvarado. Hey, quick question. You ever got to a new year and have been totally unprepared with no plan on how to make it better? And then you're like freaking out like me? I've done that before, but in today's episode, I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen. Hey, any planners out there by show of likes? I'm a planner. I love to plan. I love to be on time. I love to know what I'm going to teach. Love to know what I'm going to preach. I love to know what time I have to leave. Yeah, I'm that guy. Okay. And if you don't, and you're kind of, I'm a winging it, kind of go with the flow, I don't like you. No, I do like you. I love everybody. But I think inside of us, if we're honest, God put something in us that makes us all need to plan and want to plan to some degree, some of us more than others, throughout our lives. In fact, we get that from God because God created the world. He planned it all out. He decided what he was going to do, what he was going to put in it, the sun, the stars, the moon, the animals, the plants, the fruit, the trees, everything. And then Adam and Eve came in on the scene. And when they decided to be disobedient, anybody else have you ever decided to be disobedient? This guy right here. Sin entered the world, so Jesus had to come. So God had to plan to send Jesus one day. And when Jesus was on this earth, he spent his last 3 years with 12 guys planning on preparing them to send the message of the truth that Jesus came and he resurrected, and they started the church. So if you go to church at all, it's because of Jesus's plan with the disciples, his time that he spent with them and everything that he did to get them ready, and they carried out the work. And so that's why I think we're all planners. So what I want to do is go into 2018 with a plan, not get frustrated because I could have, would have, should have, but we're going to talk about today how to set a plan for 2018. So let's start with the definition of a plan. Here's the definition right here: an intention or decision about what one is going to do, to decide on or arrange in advance. And so that's what a plan is. We kind of all get that. And the way I look at it, there's about 3 different types of plans. Now there could be more, but here's the 3 that I know of. Things that you plan for, right? That's the first one. Things that you plan for, like weddings, birthdays, quinceañeras, vacations. We plan for those things. We're happy we do. The second thing is things you didn't plan for. And so these are things like, I didn't plan on being pregnant, right? Maybe your family grew and you didn't plan on it, and now you got to make changes. Didn't plan on that. Maybe you didn't plan on spending so much money at the store, but you went hungry and then you came back with all this chips and all that. Yeah, bad idea to go to the store hungry, right? Grocery store. And maybe you didn't plan on buying something at the store, but you walked into the Microsoft store on accident with your 13-year-old son on accident, and he looked at a game, then he looked at the kids playing, then he looked at the game, then he looked at you, and you're like, why'd you look at me that way? You walk out $60 less. Things you don't plan for. Or maybe a little more serious, you didn't plan on getting a divorce this year. You didn't plan on the death in the family. So there's things that we don't plan on that happen. But the one that I want to talk about, the one that I want to focus on today is plans that you wish you would have kept. Plans that you wish you would have kept, because we all have them. We all wish we would have, if we look back earlier in this year, I wish I would have stuck to the diet. I wish I would have stuck to my gym routine. I wish I would have got better with my issue that I have. I wish my relationship was healthier. All that stuff that we wish, and maybe overcoming addiction, whatever it is, plans that you wish you would have kept. I want to talk a little bit about that. And one of the reasons why I want to do that is because these plans that you wish you would have kept are some of the hardest plans for anybody to keep. And I have a couple of reasons why. One of the reasons why these plans don't last, these goals that we have, is because they involve discipline or a lifestyle change. Involve discipline and a lifestyle change. And anytime you're going to insert a new discipline or a lifestyle change into your life, it's not easy to keep because it's not what you normally do. And so I want you to be thinking about this. What you want to do for 2018 might not be the easiest thing to do for you. It might even seem impossible, but you can do it, right? So we're going to tackle some of the reasons why ahead of time. Now, the other thing that I want you to think about is that a plan that has no vision will almost always fail. So in my experience, plans that have discipline, they're tough to keep. And a plan that doesn't have vision, I always never follow through with it. In other words, I need to be able to visualize myself in 3 months or in 6 months. I need to set that goal and say, this is what I want to look like. This is what I want to learn. This is what I want to be. This is who I want to be. And this is the end result. You need to see the end in mind. And so I love what Pastor Craig Groeschel said, and maybe a bunch of other people in different ways, but he said this: if you want to see something you've never seen before, you have to do something that you've never done before. And so this is going to help you in 2018 reach some goals. So here's what I want you to do. As we get into this next segment, I want you to imagine what you would look like in March of next year or in June of next year if you keep these goals in mind. So as a Christian, I think one of the best opportunities that you and I have to stay focused, to reach our goals next year, is to stay focused on God, to really keep him in mind, to say, God, I need your help with this one. Because anytime we lose our focus and we look the other way, we drift the other way, and we're not focused on God, I think that's where we really get into trouble. And so I want to illustrate that by a story in the Bible that I love. Jesus and his disciples, just to give you some context, they were busy all day. Jesus was performing miracles. He was speaking to crowds. And so they get to the end of the day. He sends them away. And Jesus says, all right, disciples, my closest people, I want you to cross over to the other side of this lake. Get in the boat. Do that. I'm going to go pray with the Father. I'll meet you on the other side. So the disciples do what Jesus says. They take off and they're in the boat. Jesus goes to pray with God, his Father. And so about 2 or 3 in the morning, the winds kick up and they're start to freak out. And I don't know about you, but if you can imagine being there, that would not be fun. Feeling like I'm in the middle of a lake, a huge lake, mind you, and we might turn over. And so all of a sudden they see this figure walking towards them. They're freaking out. I would freak out too. Like, is it a ghost? What is going on? And Jesus calls to them and he said, it's Jesus. I'm with you. Can you imagine that? Like, Jesus is doing something that nobody's ever done before. He's walking on the water. And so there's a scripture where there's a part in the story in Matthew chapter 14, verse 29, where one of the apostles, Peter, he wants to go out there with them. And here's what he says. He says, so Peter went over to the side of the boat and walked on the water towards Jesus. He said, Jesus, I want to do that. And Jesus said, come on out, Jesus. And so Peter walked over. We walked on the water. I mean, nobody's ever done that. It's like impossible, right? And so, but when he saw, listen to this verse 30, but when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. And he says, save me, Lord, right? He shouted. And then Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. He says, you have so little faith. Jesus said, why do you doubt me? And so Peter, he doubts Jesus. He takes his focus off. And when he took his focus off, it's when he started to sink, and it's when he started to fail. So if you think about the story, Peter wants to do something that he thinks is impossible, right? Maybe you want to do something that you think is impossible. Get over an addiction, lose some weight, change your eating habits, get to the gym on a regular basis. That might sound impossible. Just like for Peter, it was impossible. But he put his focus on Jesus. And for a moment, he was doing the impossible. But here's where he messed up. When he looked at the waves, he looked at what could possibly overtake him. And then he started to doubt, and then he sank. So for us, so many times we start off good and we start off great and we say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to spend more time with my spouse and I'm going to spend more time at the gym or whatever it is. And within weeks, you give up that routine. And it's really because you lose focus. You kind of default back to what you used to do. And that never works. And so what I want to encourage you to do is learn from the life of Peter. Keep focused. Stay focused on God this year. And so over the next few weeks and all throughout December, I want to help you reach some goals. So before we end this time together, I want you to write down some goals, or you could even comment below in this video and just say, hey, here's the things that I want to do this year. And I'm going to even comment on this video to kind of put it out there that I want to do this next year. I want to do that. These are my goals. And if you don't want to do that, write them down, because in the next few weeks, as we continue this little mini series on Faith and Fitness Fridays, we're going to make a plan for 2018. and you're going to be successful. And with all of our eyes focused on God and not looking at any distractions, we're going to make some changes in 2018. They're going to be great. So my name is Joe. This is Faith and Fitness Fridays. Thank you so much for being here. Please comment, share any kind of questions you have. I would love to get back to you. Message me. Have a great weekend. God bless.